Release That Witch. Episode 16. The Road Ahead. The fire in the hearth burned bright, scattering the chill that seeped through the cracks around door and window. Above the fireplace hung a stag's head with great antlers. In the firelight, their shadow on the rear wall resembled enormous claws. Opposite stood a long wooden table of dark red, heaped with parchment scrolls and books, mostly administrative orders awaiting a signature. This was where Roland usually handled affairs of state. Ever since converting the castle's third floor into an office, he had grown fond of the place. Through the floor-to-ceiling window behind him, he could see the little town stretching out before him, ending in an unbroken range of mountains. That was the impassable mountain range, running nearly the length of the continent, dividing the kingdom of Greycastle from the Wildlands, east from west. The north slope was but one of its branches. Below lay the garden within its wooden fence. The shed built for Anna's training had been torn down, the brick pool replaced by a long table for afternoon tea. On fine days, he went down to sun himself, or napped in a custom-made rocking chair.
The castle is small, but it counts as a mid-sized villa with its own garden. In my last life, owning a real stone castle was pure fantasy. Even touring one meant buying a ticket. Now I not only own this castle, I hold an entire town.
Your Highness, the recent expense of recruiting craftsmen and laborers is considerable, and all of it is coming out of your own pocket. At this rate, I fear we will not last until next spring.
Pinching a stack of parchment, Barov reported the latest finances. Bordertown's ledgers had always been simple. One line was the ore and gemstone trade, monopolized by Longsong's stronghold. The North Slope mine's output was exchanged for wheat or bread, with no tax in between, the stronghold's own men presiding over the swap. In plain terms, the North Slope mine was a joint stock venture of the stronghold's great nobles. The nobles, stationed in Bordertown, were the shareholders' overseers. Their fiefs lay mostly east of the stronghold. Their stay here temporary, the faces different every year. In truth, Bordertown was not yet 30 years old, a newborn infant beside the 2-century-old stronghold. Duke Ryan had meant to found a mere outpost here, an early warning against the demonic beasts. But the pioneers discovered rich mineral veins in the North Slope Mountains, so a town was simply planted on the spot and named Bordertown. In a sense, the mine had made the town. To prevent secret mining and false reporting, the Duke had rejected the nobles' offers to dig with their own men. Instead, locals, vagrants from nearby, even criminals, were hired uniformly as miners, and the ore was divided by each house's share of investment. The stronghold only had to provide the hired men's yearly grain and a small commission, fixed sums that never varied with output. Of Bordertown's 2,000 residents, more than half served the mine. The other line of income was the town's remaining trades, the smithy, the tavern, weaving, and so on. Bordertown's meager taxes came mostly from these, and little was left at year's end. The previous lord had never taken this barren place seriously. Once the King of Greycastle sent Roland here, he simply stayed in the stronghold and never came back.
So hiring men to build the wall has to come out of my own pocket. The old fourth prince would never have agreed. But for me, spending every last coin is worth it, if it lets me stand firm in Bordertown. Anyway, the old trade will no longer be settled in grain. Paid in currency, this investment is a drizzle.
The only question was whether Longsong's stronghold would give up its monopoly and trade normally with Bordertown. That was rather like snatching food from a tiger's mouth. Yet Barov's figures showed that, given the inefficiency of hand mining and the poor transport, the mine's yearly output was worth only 1,000-odd gold royals, a drop in the bucket of the stronghold's total revenue. The only losers would be the noble co-investors.
For Bordertown's future, this line must be taken back. I know full well. Even though those men recouped their investments a decade ago, they will not let go easily. Every mosquito is meat, and this is money for no work at all. I am willing to grant the former investors some preference, compensation, half-price purchases, perhaps. But a boat of ore sailing home for half a boat of grain? That will never happen again.
While Roland stared at the lists in thought, Barov, in turn, was watching him.
These 3 months, No, this last month, something indescribable has changed in the Fourth Prince. Outsiders may not see it, but I follow him every day. It cannot hide from me. Back in Grey Castle, I had heard of the Fourth Prince's ill fame. Willful, reckless, without a noble's bearing. Never a grave crime, but endless petty ones. Far beneath his two brothers. When His Majesty posted me here, I was bitterly disappointed. Had the king not promised me the formal office of Minister of Finance once the contest for the throne was done, I would truly have thrown it all up. The first 2 months in Border Town, the Fourth Prince behaved with his usual extreme childishness, offending every local noble worth offending. Fortunately, the town was tiny. Even with every administrative post vacant, the dozen odd clerks I brought could fill them. And then, some things began to differ. When did the change begin? I think it was when he saved that witch. I will not deny I suspected possession by the devil, or that some hidden witch was manipulating the prince. But the odds are minuscule. If devils and witches had such power, why bother with the Fourth Prince? Why not seize His Majesty or the Pope himself? And one thing dissolved my doubt entirely. I saw with my own eyes the prince grasp the god's punishment lock. That lock is the church's trump card against witches. Every evil magic scatters before it, yet Roland gripped it barehanded. In other words, if he were not the Fourth Prince but some demon lord who need not even fear divine power, then what would be the point of exposing him? Keeping myself alive comes first. The prince's style remains willful and reckless, yet the feeling it gives me is not the same. No, it is the exact opposite. The greatest difference is purpose. I sense that Roland is planning something, and that to achieve it, he must use means ordinary men cannot grasp. Just as when he tried to persuade me why he had to save a witch. Perhaps the plan is immature, full of holes, but the prince is genuinely marching toward it and believes in the outcome without a flicker of doubt. That is what baffles me most. The throne may fall to any of Roland's brothers or sisters, but never, by any reason, to the Fourth Prince himself. He must know that perfectly well. Talk of development in a little place like Border Town? Even the gods could not manage that. What mad plan has Roland conceived? Mad enough to make a town beyond the border wall flourish past Golden Wheat City, and mad enough to make himself utterly certain it will succeed. If it were merely a madman's delusion, so be it. But the wall he drives so hard suggests otherwise. He truly means to hold this place, using this alchemical product called cement to raise a wall that common sense says cannot be built. My own family counts alchemists among it, yet I've never heard of any workshop producing such a thing. To found the whole wall plan on something no one has ever seen, is that confidence or recklessness? And extending that to Roland's entire design? How much more is the Fourth Prince hiding that I do not know? I find, to my surprise, that I have begun to look forward to the days ahead.